Welcome to Hornbill TV's Primetime with Ngullie. Ladies and gentlemen, the season of political drama has been both exciting and revolting for most of us. For those of you who voted as would any true, honest and responsible citizen, all power to you. Please remain in that faith and keep building on those values. They are very important. Today we'll be examining some of the top newsmakers of Monday, of course. The stories will be mostly be about just the concluded 14 Nagaland Legislative Assembly elections, of course. However, it will not be just plain news information. We will also be looking at some of the most disturbing, interesting, and of course the very intriguing aspects of the past electoral week. And for Monday, yes. Generally, in comparison to how elections in other states of India, for example, West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, and of course Uttar Pradesh, for instance, are conducted, elections in Nagaland may be largely peaceful if you compare it to them. But it's needless to say that most of the incidences of violence were reported from Mochong and yes, Wokha, while a few more instances were reported from Dimapur in the days leading up to the voting. Besides outright violence such as running street fights and stone pelting, there also were reports of voters being harassed or being prevented from voting. I'm actually very angry right now. I don't want to use political correctness here, but someone actually stole my voter slip. I still can't find it from the community leaders and electoral officers from my constituency. We started looking for my voter slip, but it was not to be found. And someone actually stole my mom's voter slip. So we had to start looking around, and we found her mom's voter slip in one of the community leaders in my constituency. So we went out and we asked him where it was. And this particular community leader had sold my mother's voter slip to someone for 1,000 rupees. It was something that made me really furious, because that's not the right thing to do. You don't sell someone else's voter slip. So anyway, we went looking for that person to whom the community leader sold the voter slip for 1,000 rupees, and we got that from that person, and we came home. So anyhow, for those who voted honestly, thank you, and may your tribe increase. That's democracy for Nagaland for you. There are a lot of stories lined up for you. We'll be examining those today, but we will also be giving you an explanation of the top stories of the day. So let's check out the headlines. Exit polls are gradually trickling in. And according to the exit polls, the NDPP and the PJB will win anywhere from 35 to 43 seats. Exit polls are coming in right now, even as I speak to you. It shows that the NDPP and the BJP will win anywhere from 35 to 43 seats. According to the one we received just a little while ago, the UDA allies, NDPP and the PJP will secure at least 35 to 43 seats of the 60-seat assembly. The BJP is, however, a junior partner here, having had a seat sharing agreement of 2040 in the state with the NDPP. The Congress and the Naga People's Front are contesting in 23 and 22 seats respectively. The CBI is contesting in 1, the NCB in 12, NPP 12, RPP 1, JDU 7, LJB Ramvilas 15, RPI Atawele 9, RJD 3, and Independents in 19 seats. According to the exit polls, NDPP and the PJP will secure at least 35 to 43 seats. The Naga People's Front will win anywhere from 2 to 5 seats, while the Congress will win anywhere from 1 to 3 seats. But ladies and gentlemen, exit polls are something you should not be really praying about or for. Voting to the 14th Nagaland Legislative Assembly has concluded on February 27, Monday. At the time of our going on air with this show, Nagaland had registered a voters turnout of more than 82%. As you are already aware, the elections will decide the electoral fate of 183 candidates across various national and regional parties. You already know that the PJB had already opened its account early before polling when the PJB candidate for Akuluto 31st Assembly constituency, Kazeto Kinimi, was declared uncontested. So he won, and yes, this time Mon district went out with force. The district recorded the highest voters turnout of 85.82%. This is interesting considering that it was just several months ago that the eastern regions of the state decided to boycott the elections. According to the ECI, 69.04% of voters turnout was recorded in Chumukidimas, 67.64% in Dimapur, 80.90% in Kifri, while Kohima recorded 71.94% and Longland recorded 66.05% of voters turnout till 3 p.m. The voter turnout percentage for the 2018 elections in Nagaland was about 82% too. Now that the polling has concluded in Nagaland, I think it will be interesting to look at some of the aspects of events that characterize election day in the state. Just yesterday, we received a visual said to be from Ungma in Mochong district. The visual showed a group of youths from two different camps meeting each other in the middle of the street, and words turned into quarreling turned into shouting turned into an MMA fight. The MMA fight turned into a running street battles as stones began to fly from everywhere. And these visuals are not verified, but the person who sent the visual said they were supporters of Toshi Pukpa and Sharinge Longkamer, the Speaker of the Nagaland Legislative Assembly. These are unverified visuals and carry no official attestation, so we advise you discretion. We also received reports of violence from Longland and Montu, but the details are a bit sketchy, so we might give you the details later on after we have verified all the information. Elsewhere, we have had reports of violent altercations in Dimapur. At Dimapur 3, a candidate, Kahuto Chishi, was reportedly involved in a scrimmage with local leaders over the question of a single member of a family voting for the entire family. Shooting, vandalism, and of course street fights between supporters of rival candidates have been reported extensively from Wokha and Mochong. Again, on Saturday, Wokha town had reported that 3 persons were shot at by unidentified persons. Before that, there had been reports of running battles between Nationalist Congress Party and PJB supporters on the streets earlier. This is not to mention the attacks on private property by rival workers. Again, on Monday, on polling day, Wokha reported a case of shooting where 4 persons in Akok village were reportedly shot at a polling station. Akok is said to be in 40th Bhandari Assembly constituency. So according to reports, one of them was shot in the hand. Another visual showed a person shot just under the right buttock. These are reports that were received here and widely circulated on social media. Again, in Ralan village in 40 Wokha constituency, visual updates from on social media showed a major altercation between rival supporters. Hornbill TV would like to advise our viewers to use discretion when absorbing this kind of news information, because the government establishments are yet to issue any official statements in this regard. More fire from Wokha and an explanation of the gist that I gave you earlier in regard to the firing. The district administration of Wokha has issued a preliminary report on the firing incident that took place this morning at Akuk village in Bhandari. According to the report, the firing took place at 47th Akuk All Village 1 and 76 Akuk 4 polling station before the actual polling began. We have received reports here that the security personnel fired back to ensure safety of the polling booth and of course the process. The miscreants were immediately chased out. That's what the report said. They are said to have fled, taking advantage of the nearby forest. The report also said there were rumors of the NPP candidate Zengro Kitan being kidnapped. However, reports also say that the candidate remains safe and unharmed. Now that the polling in Nagaland has concluded, let's examine what it could mean for how future elections would be fought in Nagaland. After all, establishing precedents is easy in politics. During the Nagaland Legislative Assembly elections 2023, it will be remembered for many things. Here are some of the things you are going to remember. First, all female booths. For the first time, or basically I think one of the very first in the Northeast region at least, Nagaland had polling stations that were entirely all women. The elections were held at 2,291 booths. Out of these, 196 were managed by female polling personnel and 10 by people with disabilities. So that's a very nice thing for all of us, and next elections I think we're going to have at least 200-300 polling stations that are run completely by women. Now second, stone pelting. This is something we're going to remember for a long time. Woka and Mogochong. This was a phenomenon seen by the Naga people only on TV previously. This was something we were not very acquainted with. We used to see it on TV and read it on newspapers, but this time is different. The rolling stones and identified hard objects are here. You can be very sure that the next assembly elections will see an increase in the sale of helmets in Nagaland. Third, increase in vote money. Some votes were brought for 500 rupees, some for about 1,000, and some, especially in big stakes constituencies of rural Nagaland, were giving out at least 9,000 to 10,000. I know this because I have been talking to a lot of sources, friends and relatives, and even sources from political establishments about what is the going rate for one vote in their area. So some say in some areas it's about 7,000 per vote. Another said it's about 10,000 per vote. Especially in the rural areas, it's very high. And just recently, someone told me that they were voting in the proxy for about 500 to 600 rupees per vote. So that's another takeaway. Now, another takeaway from these elections is this rise in media use, especially in regard to violent incidents. Most breaking news events and sensitive reports, such as violence, were circulated swiftly on social media this time. This was never seen before. You can expect the government to create regulations in the future in this regard, because if you upload any files, any visual files to social media in regard to any sensitive issues or incidents, these are supposed to be first vetted even by the authorities before it comes to the media to be broadcast to the people. So there are chances that a lot of conflicts will arise. There are chances that people might consider this genuine. There could be a lot of fake news out there also. But anyway, these elections we saw the number of media use among users in regard to uploading violent incidents and incidences of conflicts. Another takeaway from these elections is female candidates. 4 female candidates are contesting the elections in Nagaland this time. If they or any of them wins, it will be for the first time Nagaland will have a woman in the Legislative Assembly. The 4 women candidates are Hekani Jakhalu of the NDPP in Dimapur 3, Rosie Thompson of the Congress in Tening, Salhau Tuno of the NDPP in Western Angami, and Kahuli Sema of the PJB in Atuiz. So those were the newsmakers for Monday. Although I must add here that they have been generally mostly about stressful events. However, now the polling having concluded, we can go about our normal lives. Keep praying that we will get a government that will truly take care of the people and their welfare. I'm Ngullie. Keep watching Hornbill TV. See you next time.